The first knot that I'd like to demonstrate would be the bowline. And the bowline is a kind of knot that's used when you want to put a fixed loop in the end of a line, especially if you want to haul something up, or like an arena rigging, or if you were rigging chain motors in a theater, you need to be able to pull the steel up and attach it up on the grid and so forth and so on, or to a beam. And so the bowline is often used in order to haul things up in that situation, because it's a knot that's easy to tie, it's easy to untie, and it's very unlikely to come loose while the rigging is being done. A lot of times the ropes are moving around a lot, and you want something that's not going to easily be knocked loose as you're doing the rigging. This particular rope is a line that I use frequently for rigging arena concerts and so forth. And here I've got a bowline tied in the end of it, and you can see the bowline is attached to a shackle. Quite frequently what you're doing in that kind of rigging is you're pulling the equipment up, and you're going to have the bowline tied around something. So it's not just that we're going to tie these knots so that there's a loop in the end of the rope, but the loop is actually attached to something, and it's kind of important to remember that as we go through it. Now, I'm not going to use this particular rigging rope. I'm going to use a piece of sash cord because it shows up better on camera. Alright, so this is going to be the bowline. Alright, so here we have our sash cord that we were using earlier, and I put a little piece of red tape on the end of it so it's easy to see where the tail is. And this first knot that we're going to tie is the bowline, and that's spelled B-O-W-L-I-N-E, so it sounds like it, or looks like it would say bowline, but actually it's pronounced bowline, as though there were no E on the end of it. Alright, so I'm going to take the rope, and what I want to do is I want to put this loop at the end of the rope so that I can tie it around something and use that for hauling, or whatever I want to use this fixed loop for. The first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to tell what size I want my rig to be by how much tail I have here. So if I have a lot of tail that I use at the end of the rope, then I'm going to have a rather large bowline. But if I use a small little bit, then I'm going to have a smaller bowline. And sometimes in rigging it really makes a difference how long the bowline is. So you need to have a certain size bowline. Sometimes they're 3 to 5 feet long, so it can be quite a large one. In this instance, I'm going to do something that's smaller just so that it fits on the screen a little bit better. Alright, so I've got the tail end of the rope here, and I've got the standing part, and that's the nomenclature that we have. So the standing part is the long part, and generally in our case that would actually be up somewhere. Someone has let the rope in, and we're going to tie something onto it. So really that would be up in the air somewhere. So if we start off in tying our bowline, what we want to do is we've got the right amount of tail that we want to have there, and then the first thing we want to do is to make a loop. And notice that the standing part, the long part, is off the back of my hand, and then what I want to do is I'm going to make a little loop that is in a counterclockwise. Alright, so that would be counterclockwise, the opposite way that the hands on the clock move. So I'm making a counterclockwise loop right there. Alright, then I'm hoping you can see against the black. And then I'm going to take the tail of it. Alright, so I've got the tail end, and I'm going to put it through this loop. So if I were holding it this way, it's coming up from the bottom. If the rope is coming down at me and I'm looking at it this way, it's coming toward me from the back. Alright, so but it's coming this way through the loop, and that's very important that it go in that direction. Then I'm going to take this and I want to put it around behind. This is the standing part here, so I'm going to put this line back around behind the standing part. And I'm going to give myself a little extra, and I'm going to put it back down through the loop that it just came from. Alright, so if we're looking at this, we can see that the line came up this way, it comes around back behind the standing part, and then it goes back down into the loop that we made originally. So you can see that's the way that that looks, and that we've really got two loops there. And if I pull on this, then I wind up with a bowline, alright, that is tied the way that we want to